I wouldn't go back. I would not go back to teaching. I don't think I could now sit inside all day. There's so much that the countryside has to offer. So my name is Chloe Wilcock. I'm a farmer and I run a company called Oink and Udder. We farm rare breed livestock across most of East Kent. I used to be a teacher, went to university, did a music degree, did a schools direct placement and went into teaching. Did my training on the job, so as part of the schools direct placement you go out and you work and train at the same time, which was absolutely phenomenal. However, funding cuts to the arts, so I was a secondary school music teacher, meant that teaching just wasn't what I had expected it to be. So decided that maybe farming might be for me, and then stopped teaching and bought my first herd of goats. I think the routine gets me out of bed. It might be not the same for everybody, but I get up at 5:30 and I go out and I do my first round of morning checks, make sure that everything is where it should be. And then I come home, we have breakfast as a family, David goes off to work, and then the boys are home educated. So we crack on with some home education. And then in the afternoon, if there are bigger jobs that need doing, we go out and we do those. You know, stuff like cleaning water troughs and we'll go out as a family, or if there's kit that needs to be moved, I'll come out with the boys and we'll put up cattle panels or set up new electric fence paddocks for stock. So yeah, that routine, it's what gets me out of bed in the morning. But I think also the passion for seeing my livestock flourish, you know, is my responsibility to make sure that they're well fed, well cared for, and that they're like fulfilled and doing the job that I've set them to do. So we did an awful lot of research, and we've still got the books that we were reading at the time, you know, Beginner's Guide to Goat Keeping, How to Keep Goats, Raising Goats in Your Back Garden, all these kind of small scale books that are out there, and kind of talking to other people. You know, Instagram is a brilliant tool for connecting people. So we met quite a lot of people through Instagram that were able to give us advice on small scale keeping, which was really useful. And then we kind of, again, learnt on the job. We bought the goats, we knew what we were doing in terms of making sure that the fencing was secure, making sure that we knew that their needs were met, but then past that, there were quite a lot of things that we had to learn on the job. Farming has been really beneficial to my 3 boys and their education because it gives them time outside, it gives them time to run around, they're physically active all the time, but also emotionally, in terms of their emotional development, they see birth, they see death, and they see, you know, the hardships, and kind of they are learning resilience from a young age by doing what I do. They come with me, and some people say that I shouldn't be exposing them to all of these things, but I think it's really important. It makes them more well-rounded individuals. I think that's why it's really important to get them out there, and it's a fundamental part of their education now. I've just recently been on a course that's been delivered by the Rare Breed Survival Trust. It's a GAP course, which is a Grazing Animals Project course, and it was all about advanced conservation grazing. So putting the techniques that I've already learnt and done into practice, and kind of widening my knowledge base of how those methods are impacting my environment, conservation as a whole, and kind of how I can best get those practices into making my animals productive for me. So there's so much stuff out there. It's a question of going out and looking for it, but quite a lot of the courses can be funded by various organisations. So the course that I went on was funded by FIPL, which is Farming in Protected Landscapes. There's other farming bodies out there, kind of other pots of money that you can draw from. CPD within farming should be at the forefront, I think. You know, other organisations, teachers for example, are expected to do CPD. It's good for your individual development, but it's also good for the collective development. There is so much that we can learn from other people. I think if you're not going on CPD courses to kind of further your farm's potential, you are going to get left behind. You know, we need to think about the climate, we need to think about different ways of farming, because stuff is moving forward. You know, we've got all these policies that need to be fulfilled in terms of climate change, you know, meeting net zero targets, etc., etc. We can't do that as farmers if we're not moving with the times. But you can't get stuck in a rut. You can't just be like, oh, well, this is how we've always done it, because it doesn't necessarily always work. It might be working now, but as times change, as the climate changes, is it going to work in the future? I think farming has a kind of a reputation of being very stuck in its ways and very kind of set, this is how we've done it because this is how my father's done it or my grandfather's done it. But I think in today's climate, we need new people coming into farming to bring those ideas so that we can work better with nature or better with climate to make farming work. People still need to be fed, but also we need to look after the environment. So if we can bring everybody's skills together, people that have worked in kind of industry or the energy sector, to bring in their different ways about working, it makes so much more sense to have all that skill set pulled together. And so we need to encourage new people in. So skills that I have transferred across from teaching is most definitely being resilient. You know, there is absolutely no denying that farmers are the most resilient bunch of people out there. You know, the weather changes, you can't harvest crops. The weather changes, you've got to move your cattle because it's too muddy. You know, all those plans that you've got, you need to be resilient to change. Okay, you have to be adaptable as well, and I think that's another one, adaptability. You've got to take the rough with the smooth. It happens. You know, life is messy, farming is messy. You've got to get out there and you've just got to do it. But that resilience and that adaptability, I think, are the key skills that farmers need. They are the most transferable skills that I think I've taken. Probably no practical skills, really. I think if people want to try and make the move into farming, they should get out there, get out on farm, you know, contact your local farmer, you know, even if it's a smallholder, if you know somebody that's got a few sheep down the road, get out there, get involved and see if it's for you. You know, there's no harm in trying. Just go and do it. It is brilliant, but it does take work. I'm going to be honest, it really does take work, but you have to put yourself out there, and there's no harm in trying. If it's not for you, maybe you can find a different route into agriculture or horticulture, but get out and try it.